With the continuing allegations of his involvement in the phone hacking scandal, whilst he was the editor of the News of the World, is it now the right time for Andy Coulson to leave his post in Downing Street?
There was this Dispatches programme this week which said that Andy Coulson, who's Director of Communications at Number 10, listened in to intercepted phone messages when he said he hadn't. That was the allegation. And an anonymous colleague said, we've got a recording, and he'd say, oh, bring it to my office and play it to me. So it's a more severe allegations than the ones that have been made before. Is it time for him to leave his Downing Street post? Max Mosley.
Absolutely, because I think it's become clear that nobody in the newspaper business believes for one moment that he didn't know exactly what was going on. If that's true, then when he told the House of Commons Select Committee that he knew nothing, he was not telling the truth. If he's misled Parliament, misled the Select Committee, he cannot possibly remain the Director of Communications for the Prime Minister.
When you say that, are you influenced by having had a run-in with the News of the World yourself or not?
Absolutely, but that doesn't alter the fact.
Vengeance is mine.
I think his position's untenable, and the sooner he goes, the better it'll be for that party.
Charles Clarke.
Well, I agree with Max. I think his position is completely untenable. I think he should resign. If he doesn't resign, I think David Cameron should sack him. I've not got the slightest doubt that Andy Coulson, who I knew when he was editor of the News of the World, knew all about these practices. These practices were widespread in certain papers, and I simply do not believe that he didn't know what was going on and wasn't fully on the case about it. It follows from that I believe that he misled Parliament when the issues came around, as Max described. I think the News of the World played an utterly pernicious role in the development of public life in this country. I think it was very bad that David Cameron appointed him in the first place, and I think he should absolutely resign now. And if I were a political advisor to the government, which I'm not, I'd say it was very much in the government's interest that he go as soon as possible as well, because this issue is not going to go away.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's a sense...
Andy Coulson won't lose his job because David Cameron's in the pocket of the Murdoch media. And whilst he's in the pocket of the Murdoch media, Andy Coulson will sit pretty like a toad at the bottom of the garden.
Sayeeda Warsi.
Well, I think it's...
Chairman of the Conservative Party.
Yeah, this is a very serious issue, and it's come back now so many times we keep hearing about it in the media. But I think it's wrong for us to sit here and play judge and jury. Andy Coulson has said very clearly that if there is a case to answer and if the police want to interview him, he will present himself and they will interview him. And if the police subsequently find that there has been some wrongdoing, then we will all know about it. But until that point, I think based upon anonymous calls, anonymous sources, party political point scoring, I don't think that's the basis upon which you hire and fire people. So no, I don't think he should go.
I think it's a time bomb, though, I mean, for David Cameron, if nothing else. I mean, him and Andy Coulson have got to have a very, very honest heart-to-heart chat about exactly what did go on, because, I mean, I know for a fact that there's the Channel 4 Dispatches programme is only going to be the first of many other investigations. It's crossed the Atlantic. There's been a huge amount of new evidence turned up in the New York Times, of all places. I think the problem now is that, I mean, former colleagues of Andy Coulson, I mean, Pat McMullen, who's the deputy features editor, has come forward and are making all these allegations. And I think it's worse than that in some senses, because in some ways I suspect David Cameron and the team around him may be thinking, you know, how much do people give a damn about this out in the country, if this is just a sort of Westminster hothouse kind of story. But I think it will come back to affect the integrity and the reputation of the government and of David Cameron, unless something is done about it soon between him and Andy Coulson.
Is your case weakened by the fact that these people are anonymous so far who say these things?
Well, no, I mean, because, I mean, some people, well, there's only one in the Dispatches programme. The evidence that was given to the New York Times and to the Guardian have been, I mean, people who have come forward from, and also it's gone wider than that. It's not just simply about Andy Coulson. It's starting to, you know, affect News International's relationship with the government itself, and that just takes it to a whole new level. Well, I mean, you've had allegations in the Dispatches programme by, I think, Adam Price, who was the Plaid Cymru MP, who was a member of the Media Select Committee, who said that a senior Conservative member came up up to him and told him that, because they wanted to get Rebecca Brooks, who's the chief executive of News International, to testify in front of the Media Select Committee about this phone hacking thing, and was told, according to Adam Price, this MP, that, you know, if you go after her, they will go after you. I mean, that came out in the Dispatches programme.
The man there in the two in, yes.
On Radio 5 on Monday morning, Liam Fox complained about the breach of confidentiality in his letter to the Prime Minister about cuts in the defence budget. With somebody like Coulson in number 10, it's not surprising that leaks like that happen. But the real point is, Coulson has denied these allegations from the off. He was editor-in-chief of that newspaper. Either he's lying to us now, or he's incompetent then. Either way, he shouldn't be in his job.
Susan Kramer, if it's true that the government thinks that this will blow over because there's no interest in the country, it's certainly not true about Birmingham, judging by our audience. What do you think it's a serious issue for the Prime Minister?
Well, I mean, I think it's really important that the parliamentary committees, which seem to have backed off, actually go ahead and do a proper kind of scrutiny and investigation. I'll tell you what worried me far more than any kind of individual involved. In that Dispatches programme was what seemed to be a relationship that was pretty questionable between the police and the media, and also politicians being intimidated by the media in ways that actually impacted decisions that they made. And that, to me, is an incredibly unhealthy and very high risk. That's a sort of threat to the way of any kind of trust in politics or in key institutions. And so that's why I would really like to see parliamentary committees get on top of this, investigate, find out what is true. I don't know myself. All I've done is hear what exactly people in this room are saying.
Last
point. There's a real threat, the subversion of democracy, when you have a newspaper owner that can sit in America and influence, if not dictate to Parliament, and influence, if not dictate to the police. It's a very sinister situation. And just to back up one of those points, when I was invited very kindly to appear before the Select Committee in Parliament on these issues, I said to a very senior MP, I think this is a complete waste of time because all of you are terrified of Murdoch and Dacre. And the reply was, yes, there is an element of don't even go there. Well, that's very worrying because if our parliament doesn't run the country and it's run by a newspaper, that's the end of democracy.
I think